Quick note before we start, guys. I may be getting into some possibly deep and touchy kind of subjects, or mainly about myself. I guess you could say kind of more of a heavy video. If you watch my autism one and you were fine with that, then you'll probably be fine with this one. So also incoming rants, and this video will probably split up into two videos because yeah, got a lot to talk about. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching and enjoy the video.
Right, hey guys, this is my second take of doing this video. We're back with another Let's Talk. There we go. Let's Talk video. Seems you guys seem to fairly like that. Yeah, here you go. I had to take my Sonic jumper off because I was hot. I was like really hot, so I took that off. This is my second time because, man, do I rant sometimes. Man, do I ramble. I'm like, this is an hour long, and I'm like, okay, how do I condense this? So I'm going to try to condense this and not ramble on too much. So, Video Game Stupid talked about how autism might affect with my work, and I figured a good thing would be just to talk about the type of work that I've done up to this point, like the type of careers I've done, where I wanted to be, where I wanted to do, what it led up to, and where I am now. And I'll sort of integrate my autism into the experience. But I'm going to try and dumb it down so it doesn't take like an hour. And this is before I edited the video, but even so, like an hour long, I'm like, holy crap, oh, this is a live stream. So I'm going to try. Oh, I need to breathe. Jeez, I rant and I tense and I stress, and I'm like, don't rant, don't stress. It's over. You're not working in the hellhounds anymore. Alright, so we're going to start with the beginning, and I'm going to try and sum it down. So in education, I was always interested in computers. I was interested in games, but I guess I wasn't interested enough to, like, some people want to become a game designer. The only one I was thinking about maybe becoming a programmer, but that kind of failed because I wasn't smart enough. When I eventually got out of high school, I jumped into sixth form. All my friends were at sixth form. You know, I was struggling on my own, so I was kind of shifted, not gonna lie, more to where my friends were going, because I was like, if I lost my friends, like, I wouldn't be able to make any new ones. That's how I thought, because I can't talk to anyone. It's so hard for me. I felt uncomfortable. So, not gonna lie, I went to follow my friends, but I was also looking at the courses, and I was like, there were some courses I'd like to do, like photography. I used to like just random taking pictures for fun. It wasn't like an amazing camera, it was a cheap ass camera, but I still did it. And I thought, well, if I couldn't get into any computing, because I was like, I really like fixing computers, so I'd like to learn more about that, maybe make that my job. So that was kind of like the goal. So that's the aim. I couldn't do the course that I wanted to do, and I couldn't do the photography course either. Because I'm just not smart enough. Couldn't get the grades to get in, unfortunately. So that was a bust. I did sixth form anyway. I did what I had to do, and then after that, like, that was it. It was time to look for work. I got a knock on the door by these people called Connections. They are like Bible bashers. If you don't know what Bible bashers is, they're like the religious people that like knock on your door. You know, so I want to talk about God, and they try and get you to join their religion. They're like that, like they will keep pestering you, I don't know how it works, but apparently they must know when like people leave high school or leave education, like youngsters, and they try and help you, but they don't just like ask, they like insist. They keep bothering you. They'll either call you or they'll keep knocking on your door. It is irritating. I'm not as bad as it now, but when I was younger, I was definitely bad in terms of peer pressure. Like, I would always fall. Like, you could get me to do a lot of stuff because of peer pressure. A lot of things I didn't understand when I was younger, in primary school. A lot of kids took advantage of me now that I look back at it. My parents tried to explain that to me when I got into trouble. I didn't really understand, you know, learning difficulties and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is bad. I'm like, oh no, I upset my parents, oh no, you know. When you're a kid, even when you're a kid, you're just innocent, but like, again, of like my understanding of things, I was just like, oh, you know, like just oblivious, didn't understand. And I'm lucky that my autism hasn't got any gotten worse, I guess, you know, compared to other people. I'm lucky in that sort of sense. But so I gave in and I did a course. One of the courses was was IT. I didn't like being around the people. Most of the I like to always think I was pretty mature since the age of 15 and 16, and unfortunately everyone around me was not. Everyone was very immature, name calling, pissing about in class, and I just felt so uncomfortable. So most of the time I just kind of try to keep my distance, even though some people would try to pester me, and I felt like some people were trying to get me into a fight, and I was like, no, I don't want any of this. So I eventually got past that, completed the course, and then the guy I was doing the IT course was like, so how do you feel about doing an apprenticeship? And I've never really heard of an apprenticeship before, didn't know what it was about, and I was like, I don't understand what it is. I was like, well, you get paid, but it's training paid, and you don't get like full payment because obviously you're being trained. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not really doing much else, so I thought I'd at least give it a go. And it's like, well, think about it. I can arrange an interview for you, and just sort of see how you feel. So I arranged an interview. I talked to this guy, and I think the woman who owns the building of the apprenticeship building, which isn't about anymore. I think they moved to college. I'm not too sure. And I decided to go for it. I wasn't sure. Like, I wasn't doing much else, and I was like, well, if this can help me, sure, I guess. So I did more education than that, and I basically had to study at this building, and then they eventually found me a placement in 2 different schools to be a trainee for an IT technician. And my god, I never want to work in a school ever again. It was horrible. It was bad enough dealing with my autism and people bullying me in primary school and high school. Now I'm seeing it from like an other side, not so much a teacher side, but just someone as staff member having to deal with other teachers and other staff members and all the students. The primary school wasn't as bad as the high school, so I'll get to the primary school and kind of try and summarize that. So basically my goal as I was being trained, I was trained in a primary school. I was about half an hour away from me if I walked, roughly. Sometimes I would bike, because it was a very, very high hill that I had to go to in order to reach it. And I'd get paid like a certain amount of money. Not like a lot of money. It was like 100 something a week. No, 2 weeks. I think 100 something every 2 weeks, something like that. Money is money. And it was for a level 2 IT course. So that was what I was doing. I went to the school pretty much every day, almost. Sometimes I would be doing work from the course building. Other times, obviously, I'd be trained. And IT staff, I'd be doing like antivirus, installing antiviruses and updating just general stuff. I would get the laptops out for the pupils, the kids, teachers. I'd set that up for them, things like that. Obviously, anything that goes wrong, I'd be called. You know, you get a lot of, oh, this monitor's not on, the plug's pulled out. This computer's not on, the plug's pulled out. A lot of that stuff. It kind of comes with the job, I guess. You know, it's one of those things. Kids might have pulled out as a prank. The switch was off. Things like that. You know, I did a lot of that while monitoring stuff. I was actually kind of limited. Like my boss was like, there are some things she wants to teach me, but maybe she wasn't sure whether I would understand it. Maybe she thought it would be a bit too much for me because I'm still learning. She wasn't sure. Funnily enough, what she didn't teach me, they taught me at the high school, so they were fine with it. I was watching her a lot of the time because I thought, well, learning, you know, you'll learn the stuff. And I didn't really feel like the teachers really liked me. I mean, I'm not there to be liked, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to be rude about it, you know what I mean? It just kind of felt like that a little bit, but there you go. Especially the head teacher, I think she seems very stern, and she had her daughter work there, and she was very stern with her kid as well. So I don't know, she didn't seem very happy. She seemed very stressed. I mean, granted, I'm sure being a teacher is very stressful. It's one of those things where, you know, maybe it just kind of feels like taking it out on everyone. I've been there. So, you know, it is whatever. I always see things from 2 different sides now. So it's like, you know, you can assume, but you never know what that person's going through. It doesn't make it right to take it out on other people, don't get me wrong, but it's like, maybe you can cut someone a little bit of slack, you know, if you try to relate or understand, I guess. So anyway, so I did that, and one of the things that weren't IT related at all was I had to stand and record one of the dramas that the kids were doing, even though it was a teacher assistant job, and my job isn't a was an IT apprentice, right? And then they tried to shape it into, oh, you're now a teacher assistant. And I'm like, but that's not what the course is. It's IT. If I wanted to become a teacher assistant, I would become a teacher assistant. I want to become an IT technician. I want to fix stuff, or an IT engineer. You know, more like the hardware, like replacing parts, building computers from scratch. I can do all this stuff. I'm still not hired though I haven't done it for a long time because I've got no need to replace the hardware on my computer. I have to. Or sometimes I will literally take my computer apart and clean it out. And I'll check the RAM and make sure everything's in properly, and I'll check the CPU and the fans and make sure everything's working, all that jazz. I can do all that stuff. It comes normal to me. So I thought maybe that's what I'd like to do as a job, right? So I did this course, worked in a primary school for half a year. It wasn't as bad. The pupils weren't too bad. It's more just the teachers that kind of got on my nerves and stuff. But I did that on low minimum wage. It was basically a job. I was being trained. It was a job. I just weren't getting paid the full amount, you know, because I was being training. But something positive I just thought I'd mention is that bless this little girl. She seemed really fond of me. Whenever she used to see me, she used to always pull me along. Well, when like I had to get the laptops out, I guess the teacher would always send her along and be like, you know, can you go get the tech person? And it would always be, I guess I'd always be around, and she'd always be really happy to me. And one time, bless her heart, she basically wanted me to eat lunch with her when it was lunchtime, and you know, so cute, bless her heart. She didn't understand innocence, and I was like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I'm sorry. And then she tried to hug me, and I was like, yeah, can't hug you back over. And bless her, she's like, oh, you know, why? What did I do wrong? All that jazz. And luckily the teacher assistant kind of saw what was going on, I guess, and you're like, you know, mustn't bother the tech guy, you know, he's got work to do. And she's like, oh, but I just, you know, just wanted to eat lunch and just thought he'd, you know, I guess wanted to join. And I'm like, oh, bless her. I don't know, why the heck was she fond of me? No idea. but, you know, I was just like, oh, bless her little heart. So that was like a positive random thing, but I felt so awkward and uncomfortable. I was like, how do I deal with this? I wasn't expecting to really be in that situation. You know, I was the tech guy. Shove me in that room and I'll do the tech stuff. I wasn't expecting to deal with that, but luckily that was the only time. But you know, just a little like bless her heart moment. Had a little bit of a conversation with a teacher. I'm not going to get into that. But apart from that, my boss was alright. She was nice enough. She basically told me like how the head teacher don't really treat her very well. And clearly, like, she needed help. Like, she's been wanting to get someone to help her for a long time, and she wished she could have kept me, because she said I was really helpful. Not sure if I would have stayed there, because I didn't really like working in the school, to be fair. But I agree. I feel like she did need help. So hopefully, if she's still working now, I don't know. Hopefully she got some help, because she's a nice enough woman. She's really smart in terms of IT and stuff, and yeah, she helped me. So it's just, I just didn't like being in that situation, working in school and stuff. It wasn't good for me. But yeah, so that was an experience. And then high school was like completely worse. It was a guy this time. It was my boss. It was a female boss. This was a male boss. He was from Zimbabwe, and I guess because I a mixed race, he immediately was like, so which one of your parents is black? That's pretty much what the first conversation was. Well, actually no, I lie. He didn't say that in the interview, but past that, on my first day, and I said, well, my dad's from Barbados, right? And then he started saying, oh, Barbados, started talking about Barbados. And then he started talking about Zimbabwe, because it's some Zimbabwean, and started talking about that and stuff. And he seemed quite passionate about that. He's like very smiling, talking about that. And then we got into work, and he started talking about politics, and I'm like, I do not care about politics, but okay. So I listened, because it's like, well, it's what you do. He's my boss. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. So I listened, and he was saying like all the politics about the school, like saying that, you know, be aware that the teachers will treat you like shit. Essentially, that's what he told me. Pretty much what he told me, and like everyone else, pretty much will. Apart from the caretakers are like our best friends apparently, because like they get treated badly. So it's like, oh yeah, we're the group of lowlifes that no one cares about in the school, and we're all friends. And they used to tell me some weird crap, and they used to tell me about, oh yeah, the teachers, like they don't really care about us. We you know, the students are obviously don't really care. They're always taking the mickey, but they're students, they're teenagers. There are a lot of I said, kids can be mean, just in general. And, you know, when you're a 19-year-old boy dealing with, like, teenagers, they don't take you seriously. There are a lot of smart asses that I dealt with. There's even one dude who tried to trip me up, but because he wasn't paying attention, I guess, I saw it coming and I jumped over his foot and I said, nice try. So, dealing with the students, not too often. I will say it's kind of less teacher assistant, more... Well, not teacher assistant, but I guess less dealing with the kids and more dealing with the incompetence of teachers. And a lot of them were kind of rude, not gonna lie. Apart from like this one dude who was alright. But my boss would just keep being like, politics, and just putting me off, really, of like working in the school. I was like, yeah, I don't want to be here. And then his colleague, who was always, he just always seems unhappy. I never really talked to him because, like I said, I don't really talk to people anyway. I'm very uncomfortable most of the time when I talk to people directly, but unless I know them and they're my friends, sort of thing. But he always seemed, I don't know, he always seemed annoyed with me all the time. And I know I make mistakes and I do things. I'm sure my dad's been like me several times. And, you know, I don't do it on purpose. But I don't like to be yelled at. Like, it's just not going to help the situation. And this guy sometimes would yell at me and moan at me and stuff. And he, like, I didn't work for him, I worked for my boss. And there was one situation where he told me to do something and I said, the problem is my boss told me to do that, and he just basically just said, I don't give a crap, do what I say. So I did it because I didn't want to be moaned at, yelled at. Horrible situation to be in. And the boss basically said, so how are you getting on? And I just said, so I'm not doing that now. And he said, why? I told you to do this. And I told him that colleague said to do it, and he said, don't listen to him, listen to me. And again, it's just an awkward situation. It's like, I get that I was meant to listen to him, but it's like, how do I deal with that person? Do I speak up and say, no, I'm refusing? Like, I didn't want to get into some sort of argument. I was already stressed enough as it is, dealing with everything I had to deal with, in terms of how I was dealing with my autism, and I was just like, like my autism was screaming, you know, like I was, because I say it heightens my emotions, so I was like, I wanted to yell, I wanted to scream, I wanted to cry, all sorts of emotions. Like, I was stressed, and he was making it even worse. But luckily, when I told my boss and he told him, he kind of stopped it, and he basically said, he's apparently, like, his wife is not very well, and apparently that's why he's like down most of the time, and I guess he's taking out his anger out on me. Okay, fair enough. Still didn't help me though, I'm autistic, but, you know, and see, even at that time I didn't really talk about it because I wasn't very comfortable, and I was like, if I tell them, I don't know if it really would even matter, so I didn't tell them, so they didn't really know. Though I think my boss knew I was getting very upset and stressed, and I was trying my best to cope with it, but I you know, some people could deal with stress, a lot of people can't, and I'm definitely a lot of people I can't deal with stress. Even now, like, I'm just thinking about it, I'm like, ugh, panic. Ugh. It wasn't a very nice situation. I had to cool down sometimes. I had to like literally leave and take deep breaths and come back in. I didn't tell them I was doing that, but I had to. Very few times where the office was empty, I would just try to relax whatever way I can. I needed a stress ball. That's what I needed. I didn't have one, but I needed. But apart from that, I did learn some IT stuff. Yeah, I had to like do a lot of name changing, password resets, you know, kids forgetting the passwords. My favourite part was blocking kids from playing games. I like doing that. And there was even one point when my cousin was at school, like because I was working at his school, and I think he basically told me that he's like, oh yeah, I found a way to get on the Facebook, and I'm like, you shouldn't be telling me this, dude. I can block you. And he's like, you know, and I can't remember if I did or if I basically said, if you don't go on that website, I won't block it. Well, I wouldn't need to block if you don't do it. And he says he wouldn't do it, but I can't remember what happened or what I did. But yeah, a lot of that I had to do with like servers, which servers are basically like they control all the other computers in the school. When the kids were on holiday, we had to go around all the classes and do all updates, all the Windows updates, joys of the Windows updates, eh? All of that. We had to update all the other programs that needed to be updated. So that took a while, just going around doing all that. So I didn't really have a holiday, really. It was full-time work, you know. It was like not non-stop. At least I had a break. I'll get into that job. So I did that, but it was, like a lot of things like just stressed me out in that job, and I just made me convinced me that I don't want to work in the school. So shout out to anyone who works in the school, because I can't do it. I tried it for half a year, and well, in high school was worse than primary school, but both was just like, no, I don't want to deal with this. I didn't feel very welcome, that's for sure. My boss wasn't too bad, but everyone else was just like hard work. But so I finally did it and I passed it. Unfortunately, I was just kind of left to my own devices after it ended. Sometimes they would say, oh hey, we might be able to get you a replacement at that place or somewhere else. It didn't happen. So it's basically like, oh well, I've got my NVQ now, it's time to look for work. So try to look for work, but not in schools, but IT work. Couldn't do it. Even with the fresh qualifications, I couldn't do it. I couldn't even get any interviews. A lot of the time it'd just be like, oh sorry, you didn't make the interview, sorry, you didn't make the interview, sorry, you didn't make the interview. Or they just, they never you never hear back from them. We know how job hunting works. You're looking for a job, unless you're lucky enough to already know someone to get you into the work. It's like, yeah, you job hunt, and like even now, in case you guys don't know, I'm unemployed. I am still looking for work. I left my job for reasons I will talk about, I guess, briefly. I don't mind being a little bit open. It actually kind of helps relieve a bit of like stress from my past. Relax and let it out. You should try it sometime, guys. You don't even have to record the video. Just if you have a camera, just talk to the camera. I think it helps. Get things off your chest. So anyway, looking for work, and I couldn't find any work. After a year, I was on the job centre, which, in case you guys don't know, basically just a place where they try and help you find work, but they're honestly kind of useless. And I never liked going in there because there are a lot of people that smoked, and you smell weed and tobacco and druggies outside the entrance. It's just not a very inviting place to go to, but you had to do it if you signed up. My parents were basically like, look, you need to pay your way. You need to find work. And I'm like, I'm trying. I was like, we'll go to the job centre. They'll at least pay you some money and they might be able to get you some work. So I was like, alright, I get it. I understand, which is fair. I do understand it. I didn't want to go on the job centre because I just didn't like to do it. My sister didn't want to do it either. I can't remember if she did or not. I know she's been in it, but I can't remember if she was on the job centre or not. But she did like do like a course and like went to, where did she go? I can't remember. No, I can't remember. Damn it. She went somewhere for a course. So did her boyfriend. So they did a course instead. And now she's a teacher assistant, ironically. As well as Mark. GamebustersUK, my mate Mark. He's in the teacher assistant as well, and it sounds like he's loving it. Sarcasm. Yeah, sounds fun. But what was I say? So I did that, and in the end, basically the opportunity to turn to work into a hotel. Instead I'd be in the cafe, just serving like coffee and tea, and I was like, how bad could that be? And this is technically my first job. All right, we'll give it a go. We'll go for the interviews. So, but then I didn't realize that it was more of a bar. I was working in front of a bar. I was serving people alcohol more than tea and coffee. So I was like, I'm going to have to deal with drunks. Because I don't drink, in case anyone doesn't know. I have tasted alcohol, and very rarely do I drink it. I've never been drunk. I do not see the appeal of alcohol. If you drink, that's fine. If you get drunk, that's totally up to you. I do not understand or get the appeal of getting wasted or plastered. Don't get me wrong, some people get drunk, and then there's some people that just go over the top where they just don't, their mind's fuzzy, they don't really remember what happened, they just assume they had fun because they got wasted. That's really bad. That to me is like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? But that's just my opinion. Again, if you drink, that's fine. But that's another thing. When I was working in the hotel, and pretty much everyone at least drank some alcohol, telling people that you didn't drink was like them thinking you're the weirdest fucking person in the world, and that got very annoying. Just like, And you know, especially for me, who like I struggle to talk with people. The one reason I decided to take the job was because of that. I thought maybe it would help me come out of my shell a little bit, because you know, like the scar of being bullied for years. I was like, I've dealt with a lot of crap. I've dealt with a lot of bad people. Very rarely do I meet, you know, nice people. And I thought, well, I gotta try and come out of my shell. So that's why I did it. I kind of regret doing it because I feel like it made me worse, but I did learn a lot. So, you know, it's kind of like 50-50 there. Like, I learned a lot, but it was a very stressful, I was very unhappy. Yeah, I was so fed up. I couldn't even cry. Like, I literally can't shed tears. Just pure anger, really. Yeah, just a lot of shit, really. Apologies my language. But I worked there for 2 years, this hotel. I feel like I might be rambling a little bit, so I'm going to try and speed it up. So I went and hotel for 2 years. First week was cooking. I had to cook. Well, not even that. Like, I had to do reception work and work on the bar. I mean, there are 2 people on most of the time, but it was still like one of those things where it's like, you got to do reception. You got to work on the bar. You got to cook food. You got to check the rooms. You know, all this customer servicey stuff. So much customer servicey stuff. And again, I did that to try and... The customer service stuff was like, look, I thought, okay, this is not going to be good. Customer service is always bad, right? But I did it because I thought it would help me, social-wise. You know? Kind of did and kind of didn't. Like I said, I dealt with a lot of crap. My first week was just kind of like, welcome to Travelodge. This is what you're going to be dealing with. Enjoy your stay. Essentially. I won't get too into it, but I'll just say that had a bit of a sausage incident. Take that how you will. The customer was already happy, I'll say that, and she was just super rude, and I was calm, trying to be polite. I apologised. She still reported me, even though I didn't do anything wrong. And the manager basically sided with her, and I went on a rant. And yes, at him. I had the balls to have a rant against the manager, because I was like, so you're siding with them instead of me. And then to top it off, I had to deal with a certain thing that Travelodge like to do. I won't go into details because I don't know, that might get me into trouble or not, even though I doubt they'll be watching me, but who knows, later down, I don't know. But let's just say Travelodge do some things. Go watch Watchdog, I guess, because they were on that. They'll probably tell you what the type of stuff that they do. I'll just say they do things they shouldn't do, and that causes like room issues and customers complaining and them shouting at you and swearing at you, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was trying my best to deal with it. It was my first like evening shift, I think, 3 to 11, and I was there till like 12:30. I came in the next day, and I was just like, so that was an experience, and I was still like in shock. I was just like, I did not want to deal with that. And it's funny enough, like, we had these 2 different managers, and this other colleague, basically, I will say one thing. My colleagues are really nice, for the most part. Most of them are really nice to me, actually. So, at least I had a nice pair of people to work with. I met some nice people there, so shout outs to them. Don't know about the managers, though. Arguable. And arguable with most of the customers. Yeah, they were saying, like, oh, poor Jay had to deal with this. And the manager's looking at me like, so are you alright? And I'm like, I'm alright now, but I wasn't, like, you know, it's my first job. I wasn't expecting to deal with all that crap. And then I was like, then I thought to myself, really, I should have expected that for customer service. You know, you take the abuse even though it's nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. You're just the person on the front line, and you take the abuse, right? That's just how it is. So I had to deal with things like that on and off and whatnot. I even got threatened to be thrown out of thrown out of the window by this Polish dude who was drunk, and I dared him to do it. I said, you could try it, man, see what happens. He decided to walk off. He would have left. I was raring to go. I was like, yeah, let's go, mate. You want to try it? I don't care what happens. If I lose my job, I don't care. I don't like working here. I hate it here. I need a punching bag. Do you want to be my punching bag? Let's go. I'm a fucking person. But I can be. You pissed me off. But there's a reason why I learned martial arts. I haven't really talked much about my autism, so being stressed and that kind of heightened up my anger, my autism, my sadness, and me being uncomfortable. And like as a coping mechanism, I used to do this. Like I'm holding myself, and I used to shake, and I try not to, but that's just like I guess like a mechanism, like a defense mechanism. I'm just like, it's like weird, like leave me alone type of thing. But no one really made fun of me. I will say that.